Well, it's time for the book again. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and we are on episode 3 of Witchy Things to Draw. There are 2 prompts on the page, so it is obviously a 2-prompter, and those prompts are a steaming cup of tea and a human skull. Now, I am completely on board with a steaming cup of tea. It is one of my favourite drinks. I have it with just a splash of milk and no sugar because I don't think it needs it. However, we're all different, and the main thing is we're enjoying a steaming cup of tea. Unless you're a coffee person. But I'm digressing here. So I started off by drawing a few cups of tea, a teapot, a skull-shaped mug, and then I kind of just started drawing a skull. And then it kind of dawned on me, I thought I could draw quite an amusing picture here using both of these prompts. I thought I would draw the Grim Reaper drinking a brew. Maybe it's before the Grim Reaper goes to work, or maybe it's when the Grim Reaper's gotten back from work and it's time for a steaming cup of tea. I thought I could create something quite ironic here, because I always find tea quite a restorative drink, and obviously the Grim Reaper is the kind of opposite of restorative. So having that combination together and creating a ironic piece seemed absolutely perfect. I thought concept-wise as well, I would make it quite a friendly looking mug or cup. And although there is a plethora of options available for me, as I am from what is called the Potteries district, I opted for a nice cosy mug. Probably one you'd have hot chocolate in, but we're still going to stick with tea, obviously. So the sketches are done and it is time to work on the piece. So I'd mapped it all out and I decided a front-facing Grim Reaper would be best, and the medium I am using is Mars Lumograph pencils. I absolutely love working with these Mars Lumograph pencils, and they are the black ones. They come in a pack of 6 and we have HB, 2B, 4B, 6B and 7B. These are really, well, they're really black and they're a lot darker than your typical graphite pencils. They do take quite a lot of blending in, so you don't have any harsh gradients, but I love working with them. I don't know why. They don't erase amazingly. You can lift a little bit off, and if you really go at it with an eraser, you can almost get rid of at least the HB. However, if you make a mistake, it can be a little bit unforgiving. So if you're going to go and try these, I would treat them more like a coloured pencil than strictly a graphite one. Now, I started off with using the HB and then working towards that 8B, and I swapped through the pencils each time on the background here. I also use a Derwent blending pencil. I know not everyone's a huge fan of these, but to be honest, I think these pair up really nicely with these pencils, and they just move that, I'm going to call it graphite, they're going to move that graphite around a little bit more. I didn't want to use a blending stump, and I didn't want to use a blending solution either, because I just don't think it would have been quite right. I do want it to look like it's been done with pencil. I don't want it to be perfectly blended, you see. Now we'll talk a little bit about the design. So I thought, having obviously the Art Nouveau style I seem to be going with on this series, I thought it would be nice to have a sort of stained glass gothic background. Now obviously I haven't got the colours in there that you would have with stained glass, but the shapes and the composition of the piece kind of carry that forwards. And it really does give off those gothic church vibes, which I think it kind of suits the piece quite well. I thought using just black and white as a colour scheme for this would be perfect as well, and I opted to use these pencils rather than going straight for ink this time, just because I wanted it to have a more softer appeal to it. And that gives a really nice contrast with the Art Nouveau frame that I've added on here. Surprisingly, I didn't expect to get sharp lines with this. It's been a while since I've really done a serious piece with pencil, if you exclude the upgrade from the other week. And I'd actually forgotten just how much of a crisp line you can actually achieve, and I had to hold back on my heavy-handedness to do that, but it can be done, and I surprised myself that I learnt something additional here. Once the background was completed at a level where I was happy with it, it was time to start working on Old Grim himself. I focused mainly on the outlining areas and going in on that negative space within the hood, and that just helped to add form to the human skull. Obviously there's not going to be a great deal to add the pencil to, because obviously bones are white. Well, they are on this one anyway. I very gradually added layers for the hood and avoided keeping it quite as dark as the background. In the absence of adding a white outline, I just excluded that area for now and carried on shading it in, working through the different gradients of pencil. Now, I must admit, I do go in there with a bit of Indian ink. And as dark as these pencils go, there are just some areas where I really just needed it to be a little bit extra. And as well, I did blend as much as I could, but to a certain extent, it won't go any darker. It'll push that graphite around, but it just won't go any darker. So adding that ink just helped to bring out some more of those details. I very softly outlined the areas where the contours are on the skull, and obviously where the eye sockets and nose are. And because our friend here has a cup of tea in front of their face, then I didn't need to draw the teeth in. Now, it's really hard to try and get any kind of expression on a static object such as a skull, but I like to think that Old Grim here is enjoying their steaming cup of tea. I thought it would just be nice to add a bit of persona to it. I know it's quite a dark subject, and maybe to lighten it up a bit, adding a hint of an expression just by changing the shape of the eye sockets, I think just added something a little bit whimsical to this piece. As you can see, just adding that Indian ink is just making them darker areas just a little bit darker, and the beauty with these pencils is they work so nicely with this ink. It seemed quite a seamless transition actually between where the ink was laid on the paper and where the pencil continued with it. So if you decide to give these a try, or if you already have some, they work beautifully with a bit of ink. The first time I tried these pencils, I think I got them in a scrawler box. I think I might have had a 6B or something like that, and there might have been one further down the months in another scrawler box, or maybe an up crate. I really liked how dark they were, and I just used them for sketching out ideas in my sketch pad, and I remember seeing them on Amazon a little while ago. And I thought, I'm going to have to just try all the different gradients that I could get, and I'm so glad I did. I love these, and I did mention in the upgrade video that I have started using pencils a little bit more now. I'd obviously filmed all of this before upgrade arrived, and thank you for bearing with me whilst I put that video up rather than this one. I just didn't want them so closely placed together because I know you guys enjoy the unboxings quite a lot. But I digress. I fell in love with these pencils and just how they operated, and just the difference between these and regular graphite. And that's not to say I don't like regular graphite, but these just offer something a little different, and I know I keep waffling on about them, but I really like them. I recommend these. And also, I did mention at the beginning of this series, I do want to try and use different mediums on each piece, or different supplies that I have in. I know I have quite a lot that I haven't put on my channel, and it's just a nice way to demonstrate to you guys some of the other stuff I do with other materials, and other materials that interest me and maybe I don't use all the time, so that spurs me on to get them out of the cupboard and dust them off and get back in there again. Now, I've already filmed a few of these in advance, but if there's anything you want me to revisit on my channel, and if you're new here, I do recommend you have a look through. But if there are any supplies you want me to try and I've got them in, I will be more than happy to attempt them with this series. So let's get back to the drawing, shall we? It's time to start adding all of that colour or pencil all over the robes of our friend here. And again, it's a combination of just blending through the different gradients of pencil, adding a bit of Indian ink, again just to bring out some more definition. And it is a very time consuming thing to do, and I guess that's probably why I don't showcase it all that much on this channel. This piece took me, I'd say, a good solid day and a half working on it, just this alone. And that's because I don't particularly want to rush through these things either. I want to make sure I've done a nice job, and maybe at some point, and I keep threatening to do this, I am slowly gathering up images that I'm scanning in, but I would like to make some prints of these, just do a small amount of them, see how they go down and take it from there really. Now, I did say I wanted to add a bit of whimsy to this, so I thought I would actually break out a coloured pencil, which is a Prismacolor, and add some very nice pink hearts to the mug just to soften the overall tone, and maybe this is the Grim Reaper's favourite mug. Anyway, we are all done. I do hope you have enjoyed today's Witchy Things to draw. There should be some more videos on the screen right now that I think you're going to enjoy. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!